Okay, now we're going to talk about the internet. You know, the internet is one of those things that comes from your company, like Comcast or whoever your company is that you pay to get the internet. And it comes to your house. So there could be a problem with your provider. So you could, the first thing we do when our internet goes out is we run to the neighbor's house, ask them if their internet's out. Because if theirs is out, it's probably the whole provider that's out, or your whole neighborhood, instead of your house. But if the neighbor has the internet and you don't, the first place to start is looking at your modem. So this is a modem. This one comes from Xfinity or Comcast. This one comes from CenturyLink. It's a DSL modem. But I want to make sure you know, this is a monitor. Modem, monitor. People get those confused, and we as computer people are really confused that you are confused. So we've had people before when you say your internet's out and they turn off, and we tell them to turn off their modem. So they turn it off. We go, okay, turn it back on. You turn it back on. Okay, all the pictures are there. I said, what are you talking about? Because they think this is a modem. This is a monitor. Both start with MO, but this is a modem. Modem actually stands for modulator demodulator. This is from way back in the 60s. What it means is it goes like this. Remember back in the 60s? I used to have this. We had a telephone. You had to dial the telephone with your finger, and then we put it on this thing to connect one computer to another computer in another part of the state. So to do that thing that you put it in was a coupler or a modem that connected you with somebody else. That's exactly what a modem is in your house. It's the same thing. So this connects you to Comcast or whoever your provider is, and then this connects the people in your house. So when you buy a new one of these, you cannot just plug it in. So it's usually cheaper in the long run to buy one than to rent it. So here in our state, they charge about, I think, $8 or $10 a month to rent one of these, or you could buy it for about $100, right? So the break-even point's 1 year. So we really suggest that you buy your own. But you can't just go to the store and buy it and plug it in and get it to work. You've got to program it with your information from your provider so it'll work. And they're going to ask you for a whole bunch of numbers that are on there that are really super hard to read. So you might take a picture of that with your phone and then read it off as somebody is on the phone with you to activate this thing. Because once this is activated and all the lights go on where it says online right here or internet, that means this is working. This is getting a signal from your provider. Okay, then it gets it to here. You know, your provider only cares about that. That's all they're getting paid for, is get you the internet to this box right here. Everything past that, they don't really care about, because they don't care if you can't get your email, or you can't print, or you can't get to a certain website, because that's not what you've paid them for. You've paid them to get the internet signal from there to here. Now, if you're not getting the internet in your house, the lights may not be on at all, or they may not be blinking. So the first thing to do, of course, is to make sure it's plugged in to your power strip. Remember we talked before about making sure this is plugged in securely and this is plugged in securely. But then you want to unplug this. So you're going to take your power cord. Let's use this one. You take the black power cord out of the back. It's the one that has a cord going to the wall. So when you unplug it, all the lights on the front should go out. Okay. You wait about a minute or so and you plug it back in. It won't start right away. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes for that. Comcast ones are a little bit different because there's actually a battery in here on the bottom that you have to pull out as well. So you unplug it and then you're supposed to take the battery out. Okay, a little bit more complicated, but that keeps that going more consistently with the battery in there, but this one does not have a battery in these ones. Really important thing you need to remember, do not unplug all the cables. So I've told you, only unplug the cable that goes to the wall with the electricity, okay? You don't have to unplug it on that side. You can unplug it right here, wherever is easiest for you, but you're gonna unplug it so there's no electricity going here. I've been on the phone with people before and I say, unplug the power cord. And they say, oh, okay, I'll unplug all of them. And they start unplugging all of the cables. And when you unplug all the cables, you don't know which way they go. And there is a certain order that is important. So then you're in a bigger mess. We went to a business one time, and after an hour of figuring something out, I tracked it back to this big room, and I said to the owner, I said, who touched this? He goes, oh, I touched that. I said, you plugged in the cable into the wrong jack. Like, whatever he was doing, he was supposed to plug it here, and he plugs it over here, which caused his entire company to go down because he thought all the jacks are the same. Some of these are incoming and some of these are outgoing. Okay, so you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and only unplug the small cable that makes the power go out. A lot of these have a button on here. This one is red and it says reset. This one has a reset button on the bottom, I believe. But whenever something is inlaid like that, this reset button, you can't even push it with your finger. They do that purposely. You have to get a paper clip or a pen, stick it in there to reset this. And people think resetting it is unplugging it and plugging it back in. Resetting it erases all the information in here. And once you do that, you have to call the provider again and read them all this information to reactivate this. So that's why they make these buttons very hard to push. If you can't push it with your finger, do not go out of your way to find a paper clip or a pen, stick it in the little hole that says reset and hope your life's going to reset and make it better. You've just made your life a lot worse. So remember, just unplug the power cord, okay, that goes to the wall. Do not unplug all the cables in the modem. Otherwise you will be confused where everything goes. Okay. Some people do have an extra thing called an extender or a wireless router. These usually look like this with antennas. Nowadays, both of the modems have these built into here. So you don't have to have these anymore for a normal size house, like about 1,500 square feet. But if your house gets bigger, you want to get an extra one of these to kind of boost the signal to make it go further in your house. There are things called a mesh network. That means you've got a bunch of these, maybe 3 or 4 in your house, and little stations around your house that give out the internet no matter where those stations are. That's even a little bit more confusing. But if you have a really large house, you can buy these extenders. We helped an apartment complex get their entire apartment building set up with 1 modem and 3 extenders. So extenders work really well, but same thing. If you don't have the internet, you've got to unplug this and you've got to unplug this, because this is part of your network. Signal goes from here to your laptop over there. Now let me show you a really big problem that people have. Let's say that this is a laptop. Okay, pretend your laptop's over here and you're just not getting the signal. It's because there might be something blocking this to your laptop. Like let's say it's a brick wall. Okay, so you've got a brick wall going between here and your laptop. So the signal does not go around the brick wall or through the window or anything like that. It's trying to go through the brick. So that gives this thing a lot lower signal over here. So the way around that is to, let's say this is a filing cabinet, okay? You're just gonna take your modem and put it on top of the filing cabinet. So instead of this, and the signal's trying to go through the filing cabinet, put it on top of the filing cabinet. Let's say you keep this way in a closet in your basement and you're always using your computer upstairs on the 2nd floor, then move this to the middle floor. That'll give you better coverage within your house. But you got to look for things like that which could be disrupting things. We did a news story with the news one time, and they asked us our opinion about Christmas tree lights. They said, do Christmas tree lights interfere with your wireless router? And I said, I don't think so. I didn't even know this answer. I said, I don't think there's any way a Christmas tree can interfere with your wireless router. They said, well, there's this guy up in north part of town. Whenever he flips on his house with 70,000 Christmas lights, the neighbor's Wi-Fi goes off. And I says, well, I guess it does matter then. So if you do have 70,000 lights in your house, that could interfere with your wireless signal. But one more thing, let's walk over here. Now let's pretend that this is a laptop. It's not a laptop. But let's pretend this is the laptop and you're having a hard time getting the signal. A lot of times people will try to connect to a free network. Here in town, we have ones called Xfinity. They have ones called AT&T or the Panera free Wi-Fi or McDonald's or something like that. The further you get from this modem way over here, your laptop doesn't know which way to go. It's going to go with the strongest signal. So let's say you're further away from your house wireless. It's going to say, you know what? The place across the street is stronger than my house over here. So it's going to jump to that network. And you move an inch this way, it's going to jump back that way. And somebody walks in front of your thing over here, and it's going to jump to this network or this network because it's got the stronger signal. And it takes about a minute to switch networks. So your laptop right in the middle is going to be confused. So our suggestion is don't ever attach to one of those free wireless networks like Xfinity Wi-Fi, AT&T. They have really common ones called Linksys or D-Link or something that's a real generic name. Let's say you live in an apartment complex and you're always house sitting for the guy upstairs. You need to disconnect from his network by forgetting that network. Otherwise, when you're on this part of your apartment, you're going to connect to that guy's wireless router upstairs. When you walk into the living room, you're going to connect to your wireless router. So don't connect to more wireless networks than you need to, so it can know that your laptop's always going to connect to this network. So to summarize, when you're having problems, make sure you unplug just the power cord out of the computer. Do not unplug all these things. Do not push the red button that looks like it should be the button you push. You do not push that button. You give your thing some space, because wireless signals go straight. It can't go around things. If you've got a filing cabinet, refrigerator, or whatever between here and there, you want to get this higher. That's why they put these wireless routers on the ceilings, so it has less interference throughout the building. But if you have any questions, give us a call, or you can look at one of these future videos.